Hello, Internet. Today, the second episode of Irmak's Planet podcast, I will be giving some writing tips and reading tips at the end. Stay tuned for the end where I read a short story I wrote that is not yet complete. Hello, Internet. I would like to say good morning, but I don't know if you're watching this at the evening or the middle of the day. So, good whatever part of the day you're in. Today's episode will consist of roughly 5 parts. The intro, which you are listening to right now, some tips on writing, some tips on formal writing, pros and cons of informal and formal writing, while giving some tips about informal writing, and finally, the reading. So let's start off with the tips, shall we? To be able to write good stories, you have to have ideas. You have to imagine now and then. Get creative. In school, when we wrote, or for me and some other people still writing, we usually put so many adjectives and details at the beginning before we explain the whole plot. For example, my glistening ocean eyes. Instead, you could say, toward the middle of the plot, as I looked at the clouds, I saw my ocean eyes sparkle. That sort of thing. Not just give them straight at the beginning and then have a sloppy end. No, we don't want that. We want everything to have the right consistency, which means adding details little by little, having your reader imagine what you want them to imagine, and then spoiling all for them toward the end when they've finished reading. You know what I mean? So just don't throw those adjectives at the beginning. Now, some tips on formal writing. For formal writing, think of yourself as a New York Times journalist or whatever other newspaper you read. Would you directly be like, oh yeah, I saw a bear on the street today. The bear ate a man. No, that's natural talking. But if you were to write an essay or a news article on this, you would have to be formal and professional, saying, on the streets of a rainy New York, by this blank address, a bear was seen. Unfortunately, the bear killed a pedestrian. The difference here is that in one, you explain what happened in a very sloppy and natural way, which is totally okay. It's how you speak. But in the second one, you make your reader feel as if there's a certain professionalism in your writing. But whatever. If you're a writer, you can take my tip or not. I don't really care. I just had no idea for my podcast, so I just thought about writing tips. Because I've been writing quite a lot. Yeah. Informal writing. Informal writing is pretty sloppy, but nonetheless very expressive as well. Informal writing can, I'm not guaranteeing anything, can make the reader feel warmer toward you, where in formal writing you could feel like a brick. Every type of writing has pros and cons, yes, but formal writing gives a challenge to you as an author/writer at writing. Even if you write emails, this can make a difference. Reading, what you've all been waiting for most probably. I don't know and I don't care. To read something, you have to make sure you have a clear, understanding voice like mine right now. I usually don't have this voice. I mean, it's my voice, yes, but I talk faster. I don't know if I'm talking fast right now, and sometimes I'm not that clear. But right now, I have my podcast voice on, which I try to be clear, and I try to be professional. I don't know if it's any good for an 11-year-old, but here you are listening to it, and I hope you're enjoying it. But of course, that's up to you. If you want to have a clear voice, yeah, it's up to you. But the benefits of a clear voice and not so fast talking is you could have a good audience. I don't care, honestly. It's your decision. I don't control what you do. These are just recommendations. Smiley face. As an example of all I have told here, let's read an example story I wrote, which is supposed to be like a play. It's not done, but I'm pretty proud of it. Okay. The Murder of Rose M. Paget. Written by yours truly. Chapter 1. The Murder. Ah! That's supposed to be a gunshot. The next day. Ding dong. Old lady opens the door. Dust smells coming. Hello. Can ask a few questions about Miss Paget. Can I come in? Yes, you may come in. So, what exactly happened last night? I'm coming from the police department, and I heard that you called last night. I just heard a loud scream and a gunshot sound. I immediately called the police. Ma'am, please, we need all the details we can get. This is important. Your next-door neighbor, Miss Paget, has been murdered. We have to investigate what happened, Miss Perflinger. Yes, Miss Perflinger. I am ep.2, detective. Now, when was the last time you saw Miss Paget? Yesterday, while I was planting some new flowers in my garden. She was in her pool. She even waved at me. I couldn't believe she has been murdered. I tried to do sobbing. It was bad. I know. Did anyone dislike her, or did she have any enemies? Her twin, Hannah. They haven't seen each other since they were 18. For the past few days, she was excited and had told me that Hannah was coming to visit her. Hannah was supposed to come last night, but I don't know the rest. Very well then, I shall leave. Thank you for your time. Chapter 2. Hannah. The floor was covered in blood, Rose resting in the middle. There was food on the table, untouched. Then I heard a low scream. It sounded like it was from the closet next to the table. I opened the closet door, and I saw Hannah. She looked just like the Hannah in the photo. There was some tape on her mouth and some ropes on her that were holding her from moving. Hannah? What happened? I untied her. My ex-boyfriend came. We started arguing. He pulled out a gun and tried to shoot Rose, thinking she was me. Finally, he shot Rose with a single shot. He tied me up and put me into the closet. Okay, thank you. Would you like a sip of water? No, and is Rose okay? I'm sorry to inform you, but Rose's state is critical. She's in the hospital. Hannah stood there in shock. Soon more police came to the area and took Rose's body. Wait. When I was editing this, I changed it from she was dead. So that part doesn't make sense, but let me delete that. Oh, and it's actually good to read it right now like this because I can add notes into my writing. Let's continue. That moment, I couldn't feel what Hannah felt, but I could see it. She was in pain. Chapter 3. The police station. Me and my friend Tara started investigating the murder. Then, okay, it's no longer a murder. It's going to be a murder. She is not wounded, she's dead. Rose is dead. Okay, let's start from... No, is Rose okay? Okay, let's start. No, is Rose okay? I'm sorry to inform you. Rose is dead. Hannah stood there in shock. Soon more police came to the area and took Rose's body. That moment I could feel what Hannah felt, but I could see it. She was in pain. Chapter 3. The police station. Me and my friend Tara started investigating the murder. Then my iPad just decided to shut down. Anyway, let's continue. Me and my friend Tara started investigating the murder. Then someone called me. I didn't know the number, but I opened it. Ring, ring. Hello, ma'am. I'm Henry Counter, and I happen to be Miss H. Paget's lawyer. Hannah's? Oh, okay. Yes, to be precise. But I would like to know, I cannot explain all my knowledge here. They may be listening. All right, I'll tell you where, but what did she need you for? To help her prove that our ex killed Rose. Very well then. I will be waiting for you from the Chicago Police Department at 6 o'clock sharp. You have 2 hours. Henry C. hung off. 3 hours later. Where is this man? It's been 1 hour past. Ring! Ring! Tara? Yvette, listen to what I'm going to say very well. Henry Hannah's lawyer has been murdered. We are suspicious of Hannah and her ex. Come to this address, 40 Elkwood Street. Got it, Tara. You there? Yes, I'm here, and it looks like Mr. Henry was killed by the same way as Rose, blood in the chest. It might even be the same gun. Who knows? We need to wait for the autopsy report. Chapter 4, 40 Elkwood Street. I drove to Henry's house. Tara was there with the police. Then my eye caught Hannah. She was crying her eyes out next to the body. I got out of the car and went toward Hannah. Hannah, I bet he's in a better place. Yvette, it's all my fault. He was trying to protect me. That's why he was in this mess. He was my best friend ever, and I loved him. I'm so sorry for you. Don't be. I did this to myself. Tara pulled me away to a corner. Yvette, we learned that the maybe murderer's name, Josh Falnight, your cousin. We researched the bullet, and it's under a black 3.5,000 gun. We learned that the gun belongs to him, which is possible. My cousin? Are you kidding me? Last time I saw Josh when I was 14. If I saw him, I wouldn't be able to recognize him. But it is definitely possible that he may have done these murders, because he had fed my cat to a bulldog family and my cat was alive. Anyway, the reason Middens died was him. I wouldn't be surprised if he was always a psycho. Chapter 5, Middens. I went over to Hannah. Hannah, this is important. Who was your ex's name? Well, that should be what? Let me change that. Well, we had just started dating, about a week or so. He told me his name when he lost his name when he became an orphan. He told me to call him John Doe, but I always saw him walking at parks, entering the house, this house, 40 Elkwood, and a woman always greeted him, a woman that would fit the age of a potential mother. Do you know of anyone with the name Josh Falnight? Yes, he was friends with someone called Josh, though I didn't know their last name. To Tara. Tara, come on, let's go into the house. Aye. Knocks. Oh God. Hello, miss. Just call me Callie. All right, Callie. Do you know Josh? Yes, I have a son named Josh. He comes in every day usually, but hasn't been coming too much lately. His full name, Joshua Earl. Okay, thanks. To Tara. Tara, try to find out about a Josh Earl. Earl was my aunt and mother's maiden name. We may have found him, but I didn't recognize that woman. It could be a pawn in Josh's game. At the station. The ring, on speaker. Hello, who's this? Chicago Hospital. We have the autopsy report for Henry C. Oh, all right. What was the identification? We checked the police station, and I regret to inform you, this is not Henry C. This man has been through extensive plastic surgery to match Henry C., but the DNA does not match. What about the gun? The bullet belongs to was 36 CK. The gun, however, is on display at a museum because it is very old, but this may be the lost twin of that gun. Who was the man's real identity? Leonard Lupin IV, a retired CIA agent. All right, thank you. Hangs up. To Tara. You heard the man. What troubles me is Leonard Lupin's nickname was Middens because he never wore gloves and only wore mittens. Josh's clue. And I started writing chapter 6. I actually didn't. I just wrote chapter 6 clueless. But that's it for today. I had a few technical issues. That's why my voice may have been cut out. My iPad randomly decided to shut out on me 2 times. I was reading from a script, so not that professional. I did make some errors here and there, but nevertheless, I hope you enjoyed this podcast and also enjoyed this podcast voice. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.